Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Hot Seat. In the Hot Seat tonight, we have the person who was held captive for 8 years, the highest-ranking officer of the Sri Lanka Armed Forces, in this case from the Navy, who was held by the LTT for 8 whole years. And with us in the studio today is Commodore Ajit Boyagura. Good evening, Mr.
Good evening. Good evening to you.
Commodore, sorry. Commodore Boyagura, 8 years in captivity. How did you keep your sanity?
Well, it's like this for us, you know. The moment you let go yourself, okay, then you can, sustain any kind of treatment.
But what do you mean by let yourself go? What do
You
mean?
see now, what happens is, humans don't get adjusted to environment very soon because you can think and you have likings and dislikings. So you always try to oppose
But you don't like.
what is coming towards you. So there is a conflict, and then what happens? The frustration takes in. Then you can't survive. But the moment you release all that, ego, yourself, and say, okay, this is the best I get under these circumstances, then you can survive.
So that's how you do it.
So that is the way that I was practicing myself to live all these 8 years, and also it was just a day's life that you spend in captivity. Because there are no hopes. I don't know. I mean, you don't know what is going to happen the next moment.
So did you write letters to your children, to your wife?
Yes,
Even if it was imaginary letters? You know, did they allow
no,
you
what
to
happened?
write
No,
letters?
yes, till we were declared to International Committee of Red Cross, we had no contacts with the families whatsoever.
So that would have been for, say, 3 months, is it?
Well, in my case, it was just a month. You know, I was captured by LTT after my ship was sinking and I was floating in September.
Right.
Then October, the day my second son's birthday, that was,
Yeah.
I was declared to the International Committee of Red Cross in the Peninsula. So it's barely around a month that I was
Were you
kept.
able to take a phone call to your son on his birthday?
No, that is not allowed.
Right.
And apparently, I don't think there were any
No towers there.
telecommunication facilities available at that time in the Peninsula.
They could have used a satellite telephone, but
Probably they were using the satellite
Yes.
telephones anyway.
now I have a question for you. At the time of your the attack on your vessel and your capture, was the peninsula, the Jaffna Peninsula, under whose control was it?
You know, at that time, in 1994, the Peninsula was under LTT control.
Right. In which case, Captain, who gave you the instructions to sail to where you did?
Well, it was the land that was under LTT control, and the sea was under the control of Sri Lankan Navy authorities.
So it's a twofold thing.
Yeah, but then again, the LTT also had a kind of a navy at that time also. You know? So
Yes.
they were also, patrolling the seas inshore, towards the coast of the land. There under their control.
Right. And once you were asked by the Western Command to sail to that area, the exact movements thereafter is left to you as the captain of the ship, is it?
Yeah, definitely. The control of the ship is under the commanding officer or the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
The sailing authority give instructions for you to execute, what you have to do.
So who is the sailing authority in this case?
Western Command was my sailing authority at that time.
Right.
And I get instructions from him for my duration of patrol. But I can decide what action I should take whilst at sea, because it's under the commanding officer's control.
Right. Now, tell me, there's been some speculation, obviously from people who don't understand, but I don't understand, but I'm not anything to do with Navy or Naval or Marine. I'd like to know why it is that you were anchored for so long. What was it? Were you waiting to be bombed?
Yes. This is a question that even the Board of Inquiry was worried at that time, why I was anchored there. And that was the allegation that was made against me whilst I was in captivity. And at that time, the board found me guilty of remaining in one place over a period and putting men and material into danger. That was the charge that was made against me.
And the charge was made after you were released?
No, before me.
Before?
Just after the incident, I saw in papers. There have been.
This was a debate going on?
Yes. And of course, that time the board that was appointed decided against me, not in favor of me, that I was found guilty. But after my return, I had to prove my innocence from I had reasons for my stay of that duration there.
Right.
So I asked for a fresh Board of Inquiry from the commanding commander of the Navy. And
was that granted?
Yes. That was granted. A new board was appointed.
Yeah.
And I brought evidence to show the board or convince the board why I had to remain there, and also the fact that any naval ship that is out at sea on patrol or otherwise got to report to headquarters and to the sailing authority your position, course and speed. We call it PCS.
Right. Position,
course and speed. Every 4 hours, right? Then the authorities know where the ship is.
PCS.
So in this case, in my case, whilst at anchorage, also you have to report. Then you say your course is 0, or course, you're anchored, right? So you say you're anchored. So if the authorities feel that I'm in a danger zone, they should have definitely asked me to move from there, which I never got. So I don't get intelligence report.
They do.
They do. Also, I just only the monitoring of LTT transmission at that time.
On that note, we'll take a short break and come back to the hot seat. Don't go away. This is the hot seat. Welcome back to the hot seat, where we are joined by Commodore Ajit Boyagoda, the highest-ranking person from the Sri Lankan Armed Forces, who was held by the LTT, captive for 8 years. Commodore, you've told us these sequence of events. What made you anchor for so long?
what happened was, whilst in patrol, one of my engines had a problem. So the engineers come and
So that's where
tell me to, I had to stop the ship somewhere, allow the engines to cool down for the engineers to attend to the repairs. So that, and also that particular area where I was anchored is the only place that you can anchor a ship during that southwest monsoon.
I see, I see.
That is the where only you get shelter.
So the people in Colombo who were growing concerned as to what you may have or may not have done, were they familiar with naval matters?
You mean to say the civilian people or the servicemen?
The servicemen who were asking you why you did this and why you did that. Didn't they realize what you were doing?
Yeah,
They
definitely.
should have known how long it would take to fix an engine.
Definitely they should understand why I was there.
Yeah.
I have been reporting my movements.
Yeah.
So there was no reason to say that I shouldn't have remained there for so long.
By your capture, was it an embarrassment to the government? And did they not? Were they so annoyed with that's why they didn't seem to care for what your plight?
Well, it's like this for us. You know, in a situation of war, anything can happen. People get killed, people get wounded, people get captured.
Yes, children are born.
People go missing.
Yeah.
Then families get, the wives get widowed, families, children lose their fathers.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a, you know, these are all
Part of the effort.
part of the war.
Yeah.
So, and not only in Sri Lanka, everywhere people get, the service, people get captured by the enemy, and, you know, either they rescue or they get released. So these are the things that is happening, you know. So there is no reason for the then government to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
My being captured. You see, I mean, it is, you see, you are floating in the sea. What can you do? I mean,
Sure.
unless you had to suicide then. So we are no LTT carders to suicide ourselves.
And I want to ask you this. How often did you get letters from your children?
Well, every visit of ICRC, we are getting these Red Cross messages. These are all open
Opened
letters.
by the...
No, it's just open papers, no closed letters. And it is censored by the ICRC and the LTT. Whatever we write, they censor. Whatever the letters that come also, ICRC and LTT censors.
Right.
So only the family matters are known to you. No political or otherwise is allowed to write and discuss.
Right. I don't suppose you have any of these notes with you, do you?
Well, I have a huge bundle of letters.
You were allowed to take this along with you.
Yeah, those are allowed. Certain things are allowed, certain things are not allowed.
Do you think your relationship with your children were sort of irreparably affected, or?
Well, it's like this for us, you know. When I was captured, my eldest was 9 years old and he was schooling at Royal. The second son was also schooling at Royal and he was 7 years old. And my youngest son was just 2.5 years old. And he was just a toddler.
Right.
So the elders knew who their father is, but the younger didn't. So after my return, still, the children are more attached towards the mother because mother was looking after them, and she was attending
To all
to all their needs, and she was doing the father's role as well as the mother's role. So the children are more attached to her than me. So there was a distance between children and me, and it took many not days but months for me to get closer to them.
And then how is that relationship now?
Well, now it's okay, but still they are more attached towards the mother than me. Maybe.
Commodore, I wouldn't worry about it. It's like that in all the households.
Yeah, but one thing, fellas, what I want to emphasize is, I lost some things that couldn't get back, not material or not material or otherwise. I didn't see them growing up. When I returned, they are grown-ups. I didn't see their schooling days. I couldn't attend to their schooling needs.
You couldn't
sports
see them
needs,
play cricket?
play badminton, all that. So that is what I lost mainly.
We'll take a short break again. Don't go away. This is the Hot Seat. Welcome back to the Hot Seat, where we are joined by Commodore Ajit Boyagoda. Commodore, why is it that after your release, the Sri Lankan Navy, to whom you dedicated the best part of your life, why did they treat you so abysmally poorly? They didn't give you they gave you your promotion only in exchange for your retirement. And even then, they promoted you on one day and the next day you were retired. This had some far-reaching consequences for you in terms of various facilities that you would have enjoyed. Why? What made them be so mean?
That was the biggest question that was, worrying me. Why the authorities are not hearing to my request? After the Board of Inquiry exonerated me of all the charges,
Yeah.
and made me free of all allegations.
Yeah.
The Navy should have promoted me or recommended my promotion to the higher-ups, which then commander didn't do. For 1.5 years, I couldn't wear my uniform.
For 1.5 years?
Yes, which I loved to wear.
Because this 1.5 years was the length of the inquiry?
Not the inquiry. Inquiry completed in a couple of days, maybe in 10 days the inquiry was over. I was not promoted because all my juniors gone ahead of me, and I couldn't wear the uniform because I was not the Navy was not promoting me. So I had to wear the rank that was holding at that time.
Right.
So I refused to wear the uniform because of that. So in spite of all the remindings to the Navy commander, he was not showing any favorable response towards me. After 1.5 years, he said, well, if you opt to retire, I can recommend you for the promotions. So by then I was disgusted, or
Were you a broken man?
Yeah, I'm a broken man because how long can a man wait without doing anything?
Right.
If you are in a prison, of course, you can stay doing nothing because you are under somebody's control. But here it's a free world. You have come to the free world, and you want to do something to your family or to the country, but you are not being allowed to do that. So then you get frustrated.
Indeed. Let me ask you, move on and ask you this other question. How bad, how mean, and how nasty was the LTTE, supposedly the world's most dangerous organization?
Farad, it's like this. You see, LTT supposed to be the most ruthless terrorist organization in the world as far as we know. I have heard of atrocities that they have done, killing innocent people, civilians, the servicemen, bombing here and there. All that is I have heard. I have seen also.
Yes, but
bombing.
But
for me, their treatment was, I should say, it's a humanly treatment.
so is it exemplary?
Well,
If you compared it to the conditions,
it is for all the declared prisoners. I think their treatment was very human.
right?
Right. I was never subject to any physical torture, but I was subject to mental torture by confining myself to a cell, having chained for 6 years.
Chained?
Chained.
You were chained?
Yes.
Where were you chained to?
The two legs were chained, where you can't, you had to walk like a duck. And barely...
And you endured this for 8 years?
6 years, 6 years. Because after the hunger strike, when the parents came, they requested Mr. Prabhakaran.
Do you know, Commodore Jakodi, on behalf of the people, I think we must appreciate the agony and the inhumane treatment that you've been through, all in the pursuit of justice and fair play, and to uphold the notion, one nation, one country, one Sri Lanka. And that you've been so ill-treated, it saddens me to hear this, and I'm sure it saddens our viewers too. And I think it's appropriate that I say thank you for your efforts and so on. And it's so sad, and I hope that in this new Sri Lanka that we are forging, these things don't happen. What is your what is your enduring memory of your captors? Were they really mean and, like you said, the most dangerous organization?
Yeah, you see, it all depends on the person who was in charge of you. There are, we are all human beings. So, there are better people, worse people, It all the treatment you get depends on the attitude of the person in charge of you.
Of the camp.
Of the camp.
Right.
So, there were instances where some of the in-charge people were very nice. Even they went to the extent of giving us the facilities of cooking our food at the last days, Because once the hunger strike, after the hunger strike, when the parents came and went, we were sort of, getting a little freedom. We were not confined to the cell, but confined to a compound. So, like that all happened because the man who was in charge recommends to his higher authority.
Indeed.
So,
it's all about trust, I suppose, even
yes.
Even in such.
And also, you see, this mistrust or everything happens when we can't exchange our views and ideas. You see, if you can speak to someone's heart, then you will know exactly how he feels about. And all human beings have, two sides. Human instincts and animal instincts. So if you address the animal side of him, you get an animal treatment. But if you address the human side of a man, in return you will get the humanly treatment. So this is the mistake we make in interacting with people or personal or whatever it is, you see.
Your book, A Long Watch, is out now, available, and it must be compelling reading. It's available locally, is it?
Yes, I had to publish this in UK, and also I published in India, the South Asian edition, and it is available in Sri Lanka at Vijitayapa, Sarasavi and Barefoot.
Commodore Ajit Boygoda, thank you very much for being in the hot seat, for sharing your sad but compelling story. And we hope that in your retirement you will be able to come to terms and regain those family moments that you lost. Thank you very much for being on
Thank
Hot
you.
Seat.
Thank you for giving
Thank
me
you.
the opportunity.
And that's it from the hot seat. We'll be back next Wednesday from 9:30 till 10 on TV1. Take care.